Well, hello students, welcome to Wednesday. And I wanted to first talk about, continuing with groups and teams. If you go to your book, it's around page 310, I believe. And they talk about a couple of things. They talk about composition and roles. And okay, what makes up the group? What type of personalities are manifested in a group setting? Well, their values, every group member's values, and we talked about this in previous classes, are important to the homogeneous or the key characteristics of the group as a whole when coming together. And we said this many times before. Whenever someone joins a company, even for a short period of time, okay, the culture somewhat changes. The longer people stay with the company, the more the culture manifests itself in either positively or negatively. So we want to really focus on the characteristics of the group as the gender identification of the group. Their ages, their educational levels, and all of this has everything to do with diversity. And some, there is a greater degree of difference than others as far as their backgrounds and their diverse backgrounds. Uh, Roles in what you do in a company, in a group, as an individual, have everything that reflects on the methodology of how that company conducts its business. Granted, there is certainly an important part of, and we're going to talk about this next, the knowledge and skills that you have. But this is where the rubber meets the road as to how individuals actually fit into a culture. So when we talk about potential roles in an organization, those roles are important to understanding our internal and our external purposes. And your book points out very well on page 310, external roles can focus on managing boundaries between the group and its environment. Internal roles focus on how the group makes decisions. Now, let's talk a little bit about the external roles. And I think that the environment largely affects how each team or each department in an organization conducts its business. So the external roles focus on managing boundaries between the group and its environment. And they do that by basically setting up their own culture. You guys know this from your teams. Okay? Each team has its own culture, while all the cultures come together to build an entire organizational culture, or in your case, a classroom culture. So, using all diverse talents and skills in an internal role focuses on how that group is going to make decisions in retrospect with how they react with everyone, all the other teams externally. Now, the next thing to talk about is KSAs, and that is knowledge, skills, and abilities of the members in every team. They have them as individuals, and then they have these knowledge, skills, and abilities as team players. But what's important is how we combine these KSAs together so that we can work successfully together. So we have to embrace the diversity of the differences and the similarities that lie between each and every group member. So some organizations really believe that groups emerge naturally, but others feel that groups, in their respective knowledge and skills, will come together, and abilities, will come together and work very effectively. All of these things associated with the synergy are the dynamics of the team. Every team has its competency, but every team has to support every other team member proactively. But when the rubber meets the road, as that video you saw on Monday, sometimes we have to get into areas that we never ever thought we would have to get into. We would show our true competencies and how we can pull together all of our resources so that we can correct the situation gone bad. Here again, just like with this coronavirus, how do we as a country pool all of our resources together, locally, statewide, and nationally, to solve the problem? So this is pretty much what I am going to cover for this particular video in phase 1. Use a 5-minute reflection on this particular video.